Hello, Cincinnati, and welcome to this episode of our podcast. And today we are blessed with the graces of the one and only Logan Cooke, who is the Pro Bowl punter for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Logan himself is a Southern boy born and raised. He loves his turkey hunting, and he loves his deer hunting. He's got his own land in Mississippi, and we're going to talk about practices on land management for turkeys, for deer, and some tips and tactics for how to approach turkeys as spring is right around the corner. So what do you say we get this thing started?
What'd you shoot that 3-year-old behind you?
I didn't shoot that one. My wife did. I shot this one, though.
Oh, I was talking about that one with the drop time down there on, I guess, Clayton killed.
Well,
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess
that's
you could
his.
you could ask Graham now.
He hunted that deer for 4 years, man. It's actually pretty crazy, the story of it. Emily
Thank.
wanted me to tell you she said hey, too, Logan.
Oh, howdy. How's the newborn doing?
She's doing good. We're getting about 5 to 7 hours of sleep a night, so not too bad.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
All right, boys. I got one to start you off with. Last time we did this, Jay had a video clip. I got one today. Now, it is not hunting related, but it is outdoors related. So, let's see here.
He's gonna get bit in half.
All right. Don't say that.
No way. There you. Oh my God! Holy shit! Did he eat the toilet? Oh no.
What the hell was that? It looked like a catfish.
That was about 5 bull sharks swiping the fish at the boat.
Can you catch them and kill them things? How many, yet?
I'm not going to say anything on grounds someone will come after me and something stupid will happen. I have no idea, to be honest with you.
Good Lord. Was that, what was that, a tarpon or something?
I think it was either a snook or a permit. But that was right down here in Central Florida. My buddy sent me that. He's a charter captain, Chris Britton. I was talking to him on the phone today, and he sent me that. He's like, dude, check this out. Because we're supposed to go. Well, he asked me to go to the Bahamas with him on Friday, but I don't know if I'll be able to make it.
At least he didn't ask you to go scuba diving.
Dude, the bull sharks are a problem down here. Do you fish much up in Jacksonville, Logan?
Yeah, we fish a lot. We just got rid of our 26 yellowfin, so we have a contender on order now.
What'd you get? What contender did you get?
32 ST.
Nice.
We were, yeah, man, it was supposed. I think I ordered it, I guess, October of 23. And then it's supposed to be a year and a half, and now it's pushing more like the 2-year mark, which I feel like, with anything these days, building a house or buying a truck or a boat, it's all just getting pushed back. So, but yeah, we fish a good bit.
Yeah. Well, so I work with the guys on the video production side of stuff. I've done a couple things for the Freeman guys, and their wait list has always been 2 years plus, dude.
Man, those boats are sweet. That's top of the line right now for sure.
They're coming out. What was it? It's like a 53 that they just came out with or something like that. It's in the 50-foot range, center console. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't even want to know how much 4 outboards cost to go in the back of that thing.
I mean, what do they put on the back of it? The 600s?
The 47, I think it might have been Billy's 47. I think they had 4 650s on the back of that thing.
Oh my goodness.
Might have
It's a
been
big motor.
racing Mercs.
Yeah. God.
So this thing's fly too. I think that 47 still did like upper 70 miles an hour running on a flat sea.
That's insane.
And Jaybird's over here with all these guys with the bass boat trying to run 70.
Mine will run 70 too,
Yeah, just about less than half the size.
Way
That's a
less.
scary 70. That's a scary 70.
Yeah, man.
Oh. So, Logan, where are you at right now?
I'm at our farm here in central Mississippi. Not gonna give away too many coordinates,
Yeah.
But no, it's this is my happy place. So we got this farm in 21, I think it was. And then we're here, I guess just around 3 years later, and kind of seeing our whole plan kind of go into place. So it's kind of cool. It's fun.
How many acres is it?
It's 740, this block we have right here, which again isn't a huge piece, but it's a piece that's big enough to hold. I guess deer are going to leave you, but you also know you have enough area to kind of make a difference. So it's kind of you get kind of above. I've realized when you get above even what we have right now, it's a lot to take care of whenever I'm not here most of the time, and my buddies and family is helping take care of the place, and you're having to call them to go put batteries and cameras, and they love doing it too, but it just you feel kind of like a little nuisance a little bit. But yeah, I don't know how we could have a ton more. So
Yeah, just ask Jay Bird about that.
Yeah, Jay runs our corn and our batteries for us.
Yeah, because I live
nice.
in Florida, and obviously Graham's usually busy in season, and then he's in Tennessee when it's not season, which for baseball is relatively short. I'm sure it's the same for you. It's pretty short off season once you get rid of OTAs and everything else.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's definitely more of a break than I thought I'd have, and yeah, I wouldn't trade this for nothing. Have the spring off. I mean, that's kind of works out perfect.
So is that your jams? Do you like turkey hunting better than deer hunting? Do you like them both the same, or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't turkey, I deer hunt because I can't turkey hunt, I guess, October through January. Then duck hunt, we love duck hunt too. So actually, the place we bought here back in 21, we looked at a few different places whenever, obviously, going through the whole buying process. There was some riverfront stuff we looked at. There was some pasture stuff we looked at. There was all sorts of different types of properties just because we didn't really know what we wanted exactly. And one of the properties was just jam up for deer on the Big Black, had over a mile of river frontage on it, and ran some cameras on it for a month in the summer, and just blown away by the deer on it, but didn't have a turkey on it. So that's kind of what led us to this place. And now we have a 70-acre lake here with some backwater stuff that we can we planted some millet in it this year, blew a beaver dam, did some stuff there to kind of, create some kind of food for ducks. And I have a picture that if we sell the place one day, which I hope I don't, it'll probably help it being here in central Mississippi. We got a bunch of mallards and gabwall laid across a log here standing next to some flooded pine trees. So it's kind of a jack of all trades kind of place.
It's interesting how that works because I was talking to someone the other day. They got a bunch of land in Georgia, and it's probably similar in size to what you're talking about. They've got like 5 longbeards on it. That's it. But you go 2 miles up the road, and there's just an absolute pile of them. No
Yeah.
habitat difference, nothing. It's kind of weird how it works.
Yeah. Turkeys can be kind of regional, I feel like. It's one of those things that yeah, you'd obviously love to have them in the spring, but if I feel like each property has its place, and especially when it comes to turkeys in the turkey complexity of life, and it's some places hold turkeys in the fall, and some places hold them, more in the spring and summer that have better nesting, and we just so happen to have a little bit of both, but most our turkeys are here in the spring, so that's kind of I'd rather be on that end of it for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, you shoot them. You can shoot them in the fall. Yeah, you get to eat them, but it's not. It ain't. That's not really turkey hunting.
Right.
At least not to me. Dude,
Yeah.
did I see that right? That you were in Orlando for the Pro Bowl and you had a couple turkeys walking through wherever you were at in the middle of the city?
Dude, we pulled up at this place, pretty sweet resort down there, and it's just kind of middle of a golf course. And we pulled up there the first day, and I had the driver that was driving our pickup car or whatever. She didn't know really anything about it. Me and my wife were like, "Stop the car!" There was 4 longbeards standing on the tee box, and we pulled up. So had to take some pictures of them, and then yeah, I guess it's the same for you. We saw them a few days later. They were walking between the condos, and I did hoot at them, and they did not gobble. But I tried. I definitely tried.
Jay Bird knows about those golf course turkeys.
Oh yeah, I killed one after playing 9 holes once. My farm bordered a golf course, and I couldn't take it anymore. Like we were playing, and he just, you know, he got. I was like, we were in the middle of the afternoon, so like he's desperate, right? Like, I was like, man, if he keeps doing that when I get done, and we got done, and he gobbled, and I took the golf cart from the course. I put a gun in there, and I had a camo jacket, and I went in there. I actually got him. I went around and got him. Yeah.
That's
I
awesome.
don't know. With my golf shoes on, I didn't have nothing else, but I had a camo jacket and a gun.
There's a lot of people
It,
that probably turkey hunt in golf shoes and tennis shoes, not for the right reason, but
yeah, it worked. I mean, they were running out of hens.
oh, you're in Tennessee,
No,
No,
Kentucky.
yeah, we're
Kentucky,
all
yeah,
Kentucky.
okay,
Yep, and we wrote Graham into it.
We
Yeah.
got we have quite a few turkeys up here. I mean, to be honest, like there's a lot of turkeys. Like Clayton's farm's 250 acres. I bet there's 15 gobblers on it in the spring.
mm,
It's just there's just down where I hunt on the river. It's just every field's got a strutter in it.
right,
You just
yeah,
drive to the next. You mess this one up, just go to the next field. There'll be another one.
I feel like both of our fields, like you could go out there in the morning, both those farms, put a blindfold on, spin someone in a circle a few times, take the blindfold off, and say, "Go that way," and you'll run into one.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just like we talked about for our hunt this year when we going over to the new side that we just bought that's connected to it. Clayton. I mean, we're gonna go
Yep.
start up top in the field and see what happens and work our way down into the bottoms if nothing comes up.
And,
That new piece you guys got will give you pretty good access to that other ridge.
oh
Well, let
yeah.
me tell you, all I know is from that one ridge that I went and hunted over there on that other side, there is a monster gobbler over there. He's got a 13, 14 inch long beard. I mean, it is the freaking paintbrush hanging from his damn chin.
Not after all this snow we got. He's gonna have beard rot.
Yeah, it's gonna be about that long.
Yeah.
It look like a Jake. You won't even shoot him.
I don't know.
Oh.
You get that full fan, you kind of got to shoot them.
Yeah, if they gobble and got a full fan, they get it. I don't play.
yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah. So you were talking about doing some land management stuff. So what kind of land management practices you? Well, I say practices for lack of a better term, but what are you doing with your property? I mean, to manage for. We'll go with turkey first, but deer as well.
Yeah, man. So growing up in South Mississippi, it was kind of like we had what we had. I grew up on a cattle farm. My dad, we had food plots and stuff, but it would be like, throw out some ryegrass or, I'm sure we upped our level to throwing wheat and oats at some point. And so I used to hunt over these big, pretty green fields or big hay pastures, and deer loved them, obviously, but just we didn't know any better, and my dad probably did know better, but he was more, time consumed with the cattle and we rodeoed and stuff too, so taking care of horses and whatnot. Uh, but yeah, so really, I didn't get until I got to college. There was a good piece of property I hunted, maybe 15 minutes from campus, and just blessed to meet a guy senior year of high school that was up there at Mississippi State, and me and his nephew hunted this place, and I ended up killing my biggest bow buck ever actually there at that property in college, and that was probably where I cut my teeth and kind of just learned so much about property management. It's just a about 2,000 acre pine plantation that was just managed to the T, and this guy he's I'm not going to throw names out there, but he's just very precise and very meticulous and very OCD about his properties, and to a point where if I made a rut on a road, I was freaking out. And but again, he kind of just opened the reins to let me be out there, and I didn't know what we were doing a lot when it came to planning or watching them burn and do things, but just kind of taking mental notes, which is again, never stop learning. That was if that's one bit of advice I could give to anybody is just never stop learning. And once you think you got it, you're wrong. But yeah, just learning a lot from them, and then a lot. I've just been blessed to hunt a lot of decent properties, nice managed properties. So when I was able to finally get my own property, you had accumulated all this stuff, whether it was a river bottom property, whether it was a pasture land that converted into some type of ag for deer, or if it was very well managed pine plantation. I'd seen a lot of these places and was able to start implementing that into our stuff. And the property we actually ended up getting, I already said it was a 740 acre piece of property, and with a big lake right in the center of it. And the place is pretty much a perfect square, so it kind of gives us a blank canvas to do what we wanted to with it. It's mostly pine plantation, so we do a lot of burning, checkerboard type burning. We kind of start on the place, and honestly, when you pulled up to this place back in 21, when we looked at it, you probably wouldn't bat an eye at it from a standpoint of turnkey type property. And but we didn't really want that. We wanted a place that we could sit down and look at a blank canvas and say, what do we want to do? And we know the area we're at, we're not going to sit here and grow Mississippi River size 170s, 180 class deer, and that's okay with us. I mean, to me, 130-inch deer when you're at full draw is, that's something special. So, yeah, we started kind of managing the place from a standpoint of what I learned before. Obviously, doing this, listening to a ton of podcasts, reading a lot of articles and forums, and watching a ton of YouTube videos, and a couple guys who came out here and gave me some expert advice on what we should be doing. But the main thing I learned was if you manage for turkeys, everything else falls into place. Whether it's quail, whether it's deer, whether it's the native stuff you're trying to create. Like if you manage for deer strictly, a lot of your quail, a lot of your which quail for me, like if you had asked me when I was 15 years old if I cared about a quail, I wouldn't care bat an eye at it. But now the older I get, you kind of learn that what the history of the South was, I mean, quail hunting was huge. And which go back, that's turkey hunting was rolling as well. And now you see a lot of this, you hear a lot of the talk, especially back in 2020, it got big about the turkey population being down. And I think a lot of it's a test to timber management and so forth. That's a whole other topic. But I actually saw my first covey of quail on the place here about 2 months ago, and that was just really cool to me seeing a few years of burning and kind of managing for turkeys. Everything else kind of follows. So I know that was a long spiel, but that's
So when you say manage for turkeys, everything else falls into place. Like, I mean, I don't really manage for turkeys. We manage for deer, and the turkeys are just
right.
kind of a byproduct of what we have. And Jay, I'm sure you're the same way.
I
But
don't. Yeah,
like,
we just have turkeys.
what are you doing for that? Like, is there a specific cover, native grasses? I mean,
Predator killing.
yeah,
Yeah, yes, D, all the above. It's when you look at turkeys, I feel like there's no one specific magic bean, so to speak. And again, I don't have a degree in agronomy or any of this stuff like or wildlife management. This is just kind of what I've learned and seen work. Uh, for us, one of the main things we tried to implement right out of the get-go was we purchased this place. It had 12 acres of tillable ground on it out of 740, and take out 70 with a lake. And but yeah, I mean there was not a lot of food plots. This was kind of a deer lease for 20, 25 years for some guys who shot the place up all the time and brown us down kind of mentality. And yeah, so there was not a lot of open ground for food plots, and when it comes to turkey hunting, open ground means strut zones. So if the way I look at it, and this is just my take on it, if you have a 200-acre block of timber, and say it's not even say it's a oak flat or one big 3 to 4 acre field in the middle of it, well, turkeys need strut zones for the sake of certain dominance and breeding and calling hens and stuff, and so that's to me, the way I look at it, the 200-acre block of thick pines has one big opening in it. Well, that's one strut zone on the whole 200 acres. Well, if we can go in here and create a couple more acre to acre and a half, 2 acre openings, whether it's thinning, whether it's creating food plots, that was my idea of what we needed to do right off the bat. So we went from like 12 to like 30 the first year, and that was just me getting ground that we could plant, ground that we could open up, and yeah, the first year I think we got dozers and stuff off in like November. So by the time we got stuff planted, it was very late. So the first year food plots was kind of crap, and which was again, it's one of those things, especially nowadays. If you can find someone to cut timber, Lord, do it now. So you pretty much have to pay people now to come cut your trees. So that was kind of the first thing we did was open up a lot of areas for food plots and try to get a lot of clover established.
yeah. Now, what are you doing much for predator control?
We are a little bit. There's a trapper. This is his second year. Comes down from Ohio. He actually, I got in touch with him with a buddy that has a property down the road, and he was like, "Hey, this guy's here to trap for a few weeks. Do you want him to come to your place?" And by all means, come on. We've been trapping coons for the past going on our third year now, and that's kind of um, the other gets very time consuming and a lot of running trap lines and with me with two boys and trying to burn and do everything else. I just kind of let this guy take care of the coyotes and bobcats and stuff, and we try to focus on the coons and possums and nest predators.
Yeah, that's what Jay and I were talking about. Like when it comes to turkeys, it's not really necessarily the coyotes and bobcats you got to worry about. It's the nest predators. I mean, that's what's
Yeah,
gonna
the
Yeah.
get you.
possums and raccoons and
And the thing
The
about it, they're not,
eggs.
yeah, like a raccoon's not going to a nest to to eat breakfast. He just raccoons and possums, they're just nasty scavengers. So they just happen to come across a nest of 12 eggs, like they're all gone. You know,
Yeah,
and
ravens are hard on them too.
ravens, crows. Yep. If you ever find an egg in the middle of a road, just empty it out. That was a crow. So
Yeah, and that's what everyone always talks about. Well, the turkey, at least the last couple of years, I keep hearing stuff about turkey populations declining. I'm like, I don't see it, but I have a different farm, so I have one micro sample of the
mhm.
entire state of Kentucky, right? But I think a lot of it is because, like Jay and I discussed the other day, I mean, people aren't trapping coons and stuff anymore. I mean, did you put a corn pile out for deer in the fall? That'll tell you if you got a coon problem or not real fast.
Yeah,
And let me tell you, if you went coon hunting at our place, you'd get some 30-pounders.
well
Hey,
fed.
we got that problem. Well, I got someone trying to help solve that problem.
Yeah,
Take a
hopefully.
wild guess, Jay Bird.
Look, Vadar,
Yeah.
he texted me. He's like, I'm going to go down to Clayton's farm and shoot some. I don't know. He said coyotes, but what else? These guys now they're using those Fox Pros to call in coons. Have you seen
I've
that?
seen that. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we got one. I was like, I'm gonna have to do it.
Yeah. His buddy that has the tracking dog, that's what when he came out, he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I want to call in coons and kill them. I'm like, what? I was like, dude, I'll give you money. Just put a corn pile out and wait for them to come in. Like, I'll buy the corn. Just kill the coons for me.
They're hard. A lot of them coon dog guys will trap them because they want to train their dogs with them.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But a lot of times it's a lot easier for them to go up in the city on a dumpster, and it's usually 100% success rate up there to catch a coon.
Yeah, man. I don't know. At some point, we're gonna have to do something with our farm, Graham, because the other thing, and I don't know if you guys have this, Logan, where you're at. I know Jay Bird's well versed in this, but the honeysuckle. I've been
Yeah.
told that the honeysuckle will
Bad.
smooth run the turkeys out of your place, and we got
Just
it growing now that we took the cedars out.
it just it it loses it's the first thing to get its leaves and the last thing to lose the leaves, and it lets nothing grow around it. Like it'd be dirt, and for them poults and stuff, they need that native grass. They need places to hide. Those turkeys, like, they're not flying. They need fence rows that are thick again. Like all these farmers now, everyone's got a clean fence. I mean, they don't
Yeah.
let the brush go around their fences anymore. And then the honeysuckle's killing all the natural stuff. And it's just it's. I think a lot of it has to do when we lose turkey numbers. It's just from the environment, really, like losing habitat. But also, if we get up here, we can still get snow during turkey season. So if they have a thing of poults in May and we get a snowstorm or it's a wet, cold spring, they get sick. They'll get pneumonia and stuff. Like that's a big thing.
Yeah, one thing you're talking about, kind of what's made an impact on them the most, like predators, yes, I think there there's something to that. But I think if you're gonna try to narrow it down to oh, I'm sorry, guys. I think if you're gonna try to narrow it down to like A, B, and C, what's kind of the issue? I would say the top one is probably all these timber companies that are just kind of the way they're managing their timber. And if you look at the Southeast, when you kind of look at the whole Southeast, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, it used to be majority longleaf pine. That was kind of what was native to us. And the difference in managing longleaf pine and this faster growing loblolly pine is very different. And you can run fire through a longleaf pine very early in its age, which creates a lot of that native growth and stuff. And also, I feel like a lot of the spacing, and I'm not, I got a lot of timber guys that are buddies, and two of my roommates in college were forestry majors, and this is kind of coming from some of their knowledge too. But a lot of the way timber companies are planting these rows now so close together, no sunlight can get to the floor, and it's more for production of timber, which again is if that's your goal, then that's your goal. But there was I guess a market with our grandparents and our parents that were just planting, going all out on pine trees. And then now you see that market's kind of dropped off a little bit because everyone and their brother did it back then. So yeah, I think a lot of these big timber companies are kind of putting a hurt on it, and they're not letting you run fire through stuff. There's actually places who aren't accepting timber that is, I guess, has charred marks on the trees for whatever reason. They think fire is bad for the trees, so they won't even take them. So that's a problem.
Huh. I wonder
And
why.
isn't the fire supposed to bring like more nitrogen into the ground to help things grow?
Yeah, so I'm not a I don't know the scientific answer to it, but I do know that the more, obviously thinning pines creates more sunlight to get to the floor, but yeah, running fire through it just creates so much native growth, kills a lot of the sweet gums that are kind of taking over and blocking out areas where these pines can really blow up. I mean, if you take for anything. If you go to oak flat or a pine thicket and you cut out 2 acres and leave 5 trees in those 2 acres, like 5 years later, you're going to see how they've just blown up because there's so much more nutrients those trees alone are taking. And my non-scientific view of it is create more space for the trees to grow. And if you thin pines, a lot of times you can see them take a big leap. Uh, so I don't know the timber company's mindset behind it, but that's kind of what I'm seeing too.
Yeah.
Well, I could see if you're planting them. You said they're planting them with closer spacing now.
So this is what I've been told. Again, I wasn't planting pine trees back in early 2000s. My parents were, so I don't understand exactly what they were doing, but my understanding is kind of they're planting them very close together for the sake of production of I guess number of trees they can get on a truck.
Well, not only that, but I think if you think about it, we're talking about having open canopy so stuff can grow underneath the trees. Same concept applies. Going up the first half of that tree, the closer they are together, tighter that those tree tops are going to be. So it helps eliminate some of the branches. And I mean, pines don't necessarily split like black walnuts do, but like if you go to harvest a black walnut to sell it, they don't want a tree that's got to split halfway up. So they tell you if you're growing black walnuts, you got to constantly prune them to get that long, straight trunk
Mm,
for the boards. So I can see that being part of the reason why.
Yeah, an easy way to just see that is go in the woods and find a red oak tree, and then go look at one in someone's yard and look how much lower the limbs are on the one that's
yeah.
by itself, and how many more acorns it has. You always see
Yeah.
the deer eating the acorns in someone's yard or the tree out in the field. Well, first off, they're easier to find, but also it's because it has a shitload of acorns because it's producing a mass crop. Like it's got the sunlight and the nutrients to do it.
Well, I mean, that's the exact tree that I had that drop tine buck go to when I grounded him in. It was an acorn tree that was by itself that was about 30 foot around.
It's kind of like it's kind of like bass fishing. Like if you go fish in trees and there's trees everywhere, it's not as special, right? But if there's one tree out there by itself, it's got every fish around it. It's that's kind of how
Mm,
I look at it.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Well, fishing in general, look at it. You got like look at the mullet run for example. You got these big schools of mullet running up and down the beach. All right, let's go out there and throw a croaker. Let's throw the one bait fish that's different than all the mullet, and then all those
yep.
fish are going to be like, "Oh, look at that! It's a croaker. Let's eat that today." I don't feel like eating
Yep.
McDonald's again. It's the same concept. I mean, I bet a lot of hunting and fishing is based around that. You're just looking for that difference. What's
yeah, some
different
sort
here?
of difference.
Yep.
So,
So, Logan, with I keep up with your stuff on social media whenever I see like you went hunting and stuff. How does it work with you having time to be able to go out? Because I know for like me, it's like I have to schedule out my one turkey hunt a year on an off day, and
Yeah.
it either depends if it's at the beginning of season or of turkey season, or if it's at the end of turkey season. So like I never really know if I'm going to have a real strong hunt to where you could have 13 gobblers come in to calling at them, or if we're just trying to get one bird to do it for us. So, like, I
Yeah.
mean, and that's just the turkey side because that's the only season that's open come
Yeah.
with baseball season.
Yeah, it's um I don't know if I could play baseball, man. Not having a spring. That's that's tough. That's tough. But no, I mean I kind of hit it pretty good unless we make playoffs, which we've only so I've been there, we made playoffs one time. So that did go in the end of January, but for us January is kind of the best month for deer and ducks. So that's kind of usually we're done first of January. So I get a lot of deer hunting in, especially at the home place here in Mississippi. And then obviously spring's pretty free. But the yeah, deer season I usually try to get in the stand once or twice. I used to hunt a little more. I had a lease over there in Jacksonville, and uh, 2 kids will definitely slow a lot of that down, which is fine. It's fine, but it's there's a season for everything, and Yeah, like this year I have a buddy who has a place South Georgia and only a couple hours away from Jacksonville, and went up on a Monday and hunted Tuesday. Went up Monday night, hunted all day Tuesday, and shot a deer up there and came back. So yeah, it's kind of like during season you're just kind of gambling, but it's not even like I've killed several deer in my life, so it's not like I'm going up there to have to kill something. It's more or less let me get the heck out of Jacksonville for 24 hours and sit in a tree somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, y'all have a bigger problem with that as far as scheduling is concerned, but I think a lot of people are like that. You killed enough critters at some point, you're like, dude, I just want to get out of the house, get away
Yep.
from this job, whatever it is. I just want to go sit in a tree for a day and leave me alone.
That's I'm so I just bought into the farm with Clayton. We just bought an extra 101 acres that connects to the piece that we got, and I'm extremely happy to be able to go on an off day and just go to the farm, hop on the side by side or the tractor with my wife and my daughter and my dogs, or just go sit out by the fire pit and just not have to worry about anything besides just chilling.
You know, Florida, you're in Jacksonville. I get tired of Florida. I'm like, get me out of this state. It's hot all the time, man.
Yep. Dude, Jacksonville's kind of cool though. I mean, you got some of the best bass fishing there closed, and obviously offshore stuff. And then, like I said about the Georgia place, the deer I killed up there was nothing special with horns, but I did kill a 140-inch 10 point at the same farm last year. And I mean, you're 2 hours north of Jacksonville, so it's you're close to in turkey hunting's ridiculous. So you're kind of close to everything, and it's a cool spot. I wouldn't want to be any further south. That's for sure.
So, two things. Number one, I've been to one Jaguars game, and it was opening week like 5 or 6 years ago. And I was about to die of a heat stroke. I was like, I don't know how these players are doing it. Their,
Don't
their
do it.
cleats must be melted to their feet on that turf.
Yeah, I don't know how they do it either. I'm sitting on that bench for most of the game, but yeah, it's hot. Those early season games are pretty hot.
But my next question, Jacksonville, if you're hunting in that area for turkeys, that's pretty much a straight up Eastern at that point, isn't it? It shows you how much I've turkey hunted Florida. I've been here for
Yeah,
15 years now, but I've turkey hunted just a handful of times because I don't care to hunt public land for Osceolas.
yeah. The line is Jacksonville pretty much. So like if you look at the state of Florida comes out and peninsula's down straight across where the peninsula kind of starts is the line. But they say that, and I've seen it. If you go a couple hours, and now it might even be further than that. I'm not sure. But if you go a couple hours either way, you're kind of getting some hybrid birds. Down in St. Augustine, for instance, we used to have a place down there, and I killed a bird that was, I mean, I don't know, probably 13, 14 pounds, inch and three-quarter spurs, just, a big Osceola black wing looking turkey. And the same farm, the same year, my wife killed a turkey that was probably 18 pounds and real white barn on its wings and just looked like a turkey you killed up in the hills of Tennessee or Kentucky. So I think you go either way, a couple hours, you're kind of getting, a lot of hybrid. But on paper, yeah, Jacksonville straight across is kind of south of there is the line.
Look, speaking of weight, what's your average like weight for the birds in Mississippi? Like 18,
Man,
20
I'm not
pounds, a good one?
couldn't tell you. I don't ever weigh them. The only reason I was interested in this one was because the different size of turkey we killed at the same place.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I don't measure anything on a turkey really, except for those inch and three. I didn't measure those. Those were the
Yeah,
biggest
those are good
spurs I've
ones.
ever seen. But yeah, we just I don't do much weight. I probably should from a standpoint of just seeing how healthy birds are. But I do check the crawls. That's the one thing I do check every time. Again, I'll tell you this. I'm talking about managing the place. We try to get about roughly 50% of our 30-ish acres in a clover, just for the sake of one, turkeys love clover, and it gives something for the deer to eat year round that isn't. I don't have to protect a standing crop of soybeans or something. But yeah, we got that established finally. And the first year we killed two turkeys on the place, and not a lick of green in their crawling. We killed them early, one opening day, and we killed one, end of April. So just straight bugs, grasshoppers, and some acorns, and that's all that we're in them. And then the past two seasons, so I guess 2 years ago, and then last spring, after just having clover established for a year or two, I mean, just smack full of clover, and that were birds that were killed in the morning, afternoon as well. So that was just another take on something we've seen change over the 3 years of having this place.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I've heard stories of this. I have not witnessed it myself, but like deer, same way. You plant a food plot with turnips. If it's a herd of deer that's never seen turnips before, they're not necessarily going to smash them up the first year or two. They kind of got to figure out what they are until you get that imprinting in them, right? Well, I mean, I've never seen that anytime. Like we had the farm we've got now when we first started planting food plots in there. I mean, they were crushing it the first year, but I've heard stories of that. And I'm guessing it's the same thing. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that with deer as well, or bird, if you've seen that at all. Sometimes they just got to figure out what it is.
Yeah, well, my
Yeah,
uncle's got an apple orchard, and the deer will smoke apples. And I'll go over there and I'll pick buckets, the apples that fall off the tree. And I'll get 5-gallon buckets of apples, and I'll take them 10 miles down the road to another farm I can hunt, and I'll dump them out. And the deer will let them rot. They won't eat them. They don't know what they are. And then eventually they'll start eating. I put corn in there with some apples, and then once the corn runs out, they'll bite an apple, and then they'll start eating them. But it's just they just don't know what it is. You know what I mean? They're not like, oh, this is an apple, that's a banana. They don't know that. They're just like, I don't know, what is that? You know what I mean? But once they start eating them, they get on them.
I have a picture that I put on my social media yesterday of my son holding a big
Yeah,
turnip, and
I
that thing,
saw
I'm
that.
telling you, it's like the
Looks like a
size of a basketball.
basketball.
And those deer did not touch them. And I know the people who had this before, all they were planting was most likely probably ryegrass. But that was um so this is the first year we've really tried to plant a lot of radishes and turnips, and they ate the radishes a little bit this year. In one plot we did some deer radish over there, and they ate them pretty good. But dude, I have the biggest bulbs you've ever seen, and they haven't. I mean, other than eating some leaves, they haven't touched them. And
I mean,
it's one of the main reasons we planted them were to kind of. It's a big 11-acre field that we cleared. It was just pine trees a couple years ago, so we kind of bust up that hard pan a little bit, and hopefully those things do it. But yeah, they haven't touched them. But it's
They'll
that
get
what
that
you
to them.
said, same thing.
that picture looks like your son picking up a bowling ball to go roll it down the
I know.
lane.
I mean, that
It,
thing
it,
was
it
as big
looks
as he
it looks
was.
like it could be a little deceiving, but it's as big as it. I mean, it's girls basketball size.
That's crazy.
See, my buddies, he gets mad. He's planted turnips for like 3 years, and he's got. I mean, it looked like it should be in a magazine. You know what I mean? Kind of like what you're saying. You got the biggest bulbs, and it's green as can be, and the deer just don't eat them. And he's like, well, I'm not even messing with this stuff next year.
Yeah.
But like it drives him nuts. I mean, he does a good job too. He tries every year, but they will not. Even this year, we've had the snow and the cold, and I was like, dude, if they don't eat them this year, they'll never eat them, and they haven't even
Well,
been
dude,
down there.
I was talking to a buddy of mine with Biologic yesterday. Actually, he had responded to the story of the big turnip, and it was I was telling him he asked how the plots did this year, and I was kind of telling him our brassicas did really good, but didn't really touch them, and we spent all this time and energy and focus on trying to grow these big tubers and big leafy greens, and but my clover fields, dude, it looks like you took a lawnmower out there and cut them as low as you could get it, and all we did was just I guess there'd be two sprayings throughout the year, one clipping, and then we just drilled oats into them. And man, they just got smoked. And then you have this 11-acre field of beautiful brassicas that hadn't been touched. So it's I don't know, clover in this part of the state, especially for me, and just seeing the difference. Clover's kind of king down here, and it's it gets you all the way to. For us this year was kind of end of July, early August, whenever it kind of gets burned out. But
Yeah. I mean, that's how our farm is. The clover grows really naturally. So, like, we just frost seed and spray. Anyways, the clover, you frost seed, it just comes up naturally and they love it. We've tried alfalfa before and stuff, and we've tried beans. But I mean, like, beans, you got to have big fields or you ain't going to get nothing because, like you're saying, the deer
mhm.
mowing the clover down, they do the same thing to beans. They won't ever get longer than 2 inches out of the ground.
Yeah, if you plant anything under 5 acres of beans up here, it's gone. You'll never see it. They eat it too fast. And alfalfa's great, but it's hard. You gotta baby it. You gotta cut it.
Mhm.
You gotta cut the hay on. You can't just let it go. You gotta cut hay on it. It's expensive, but they
Yeah.
will
Yeah.
smoke an alfalfa field.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure alfalfa doesn't like it super hot. I could be wrong.
No, it
Uh,
doesn't like humidity,
okay, yeah,
like
not
a
a good
ton
place,
of it.
South Mississippi. Yeah, it's and for me, like I said earlier, talking about dad and family and in-laws and buddies that help me kind of manage this place. When I'm gone, it's kind of I need something that's kind of going to be, kind of do its own thing, and Clover is one of those things that kind of works for us. And yeah, it's I would love to have a we planted some beans this year in that big field, and we were only able to plant because we didn't have the whole field de-stumped yet. We only planted about 6 acres of it, and they didn't get above about 8 inches tall, just getting smoked the whole time. And so this year, hopefully 11 acres makes it through. But we don't have a huge deer density here, I think, because it just kind of got over the past 20 years, it's been getting smoked. But I kind of see it, especially in the food plots. I kind of see it on the come up. See it, we're not quite lip high yet, but you can kind of see where, like I said, a lot of the clover fields are getting eaten. Before, I don't think we had 20 deer on the place, so it's cool to see it kind of getting better.
It'll suck a minute. Well, and like you said, it takes care of itself. Like if you don't get to mow it or spray it, you get native grasses growing up in it. As long
Hmm.
as you don't let it get it too thick, it's not going to choke it out because clover likes the shade. In fact, sometimes it's better for deer hunting because they feel a little bit more secure out in the field.
Yeah, yeah. My clover fields come. I guess it was, and it's obviously last March, early March through 1st of June, our clover fields were, I mean, taller than a water bottle, just looked very lush and green and exactly how you wanted to look. And then into July, they started getting burnt out. And come early September, I mean, they looked awful. And it took to a point where I looked at them and thought we had lost everything. And again, that's kind of the words with clover I've heard is it sleeps, it creeps, and it leaps. And that's kind of the stages of it. And that was the first time I'd really seen it to where I was like, oh, we lost all of it. It's all burnt up. And the next thing you know, October or end of October, early November, we got some rains, and you start seeing it kind of greening up a little bit again, and then a lot of that stuff that once it gets cold, a lot of those weeds died out, and now you kind of see all the clover just really taking over. I was riding around, took some pictures today, and you can just kind of see how in those pictures, and it used to be very ugly come, early fall and August, September, and then now the clover just it has its roots established, and every year it just kind of redoes its thing.
Yep. And frost seed it. That seed lies dormant until it's needed. Which I don't know if you have much frost there. Well, everybody got snow this year, even Florida.
Yeah, dude, we don't get a ton of at least what I hear, we don't get a ton of success with frost seeding down here. I think mainly because the summer's so hot for us. Not that it's not hot up there in Kentucky, but I don't know, something about down here, that young clover, I've just heard it's not worth taking a chance on.
That Mississippi heat during the summer is something that'll get you. Let me tell you.
It's hot, man.
Let me ask you something. Turkey's kind of your thing, right? What do you find the most common situations you get stuck in turkey hunting? Um, Whether you got a bird hung up or whatever. And what would you say to people to give them a piece of advice on how to get a weary bird or a bird that doesn't want to fully commit to kind of break and come in?
Yeah, well, I think the only problem with what you said is common. There's nothing common in the turkey woods. I feel like it's always, dude, I learn something new every time I go out there turkey hunting, and I think that's what's cool about it, honestly. But dude, yeah, every time you think you have turkeys figured out, it's just they just throw you another curveball, and it's. But honestly, I think one of the most common things you said it is a hung up turkey, and I think growing up is in the South, turkey hunting's, I mean, it's a cult down here in this West Alabama, Mississippi area, and it's everyone and their brother does it. So I grew up in it, and I grew up spooking a lot of turkeys. My dad turkey hunted some, but he wasn't really, he wasn't about it all the time, and so he would drop me off in the mornings, and in the afternoon, my grandpa would pick me up or something, and that was me as a 11, 12-year-old kid. So man, I spooked a lot of turkeys and rode a lot of turkey hunts, but I learned a lot. But yeah, I think I don't know, man. I learned something new every day with them.
Yeah.
I know how you get them, man.
This ought to be good.
You know how you do it. You just show them that fan, man. You just pick
Hey,
that fan up.
to each his own.
You just give them a little bit of that fan, man.
That's pretty much the extent of birds turkey hunting at this point.
Yeah, if they want to stay there, I just throw that old fan up. I'll go to you then.
Uh, I think the one thing I learned, it was Graham. It was the first time you came out to hunt. We had that bird that I killed that was hung up. He would not move for 2 hours.
Stay in the same freaking spot.
We found a way to sneak around and got like with close enough to either in his bubble or close enough to his bubble that I mean I didn't really call much, just scratching in the leaves until he can't take it no more. Like
Yeah.
sometimes
I couldn't take
silence
that.
is deadlier than anything.
Every
Yeah,
turkey's a little different,
that's true.
though.
And
I
let
mean,
me
you have some that'll run in there and just die, commit suicide, and then you got others that they're not leaving that ridge top, like no matter what. And then you got some that'll just stick their head out in the field, look at your decoys, and they're just like, not interested in it. They're just all a little different.
Yeah, I think you kind of talked about getting in this bubble. That's one thing for me that I've killed a lot of turkeys, and I also passed on like if you have two different turkeys, for instance, the way I go about every turkey that I hear gobble, if I'm trying to kill them, is checking their temperature. Whatever, whether it's a cold, whether it's hot. A lot of times, if you have two different birds, even if one's 300 yards from you and one's half a mile from you, if one of them's temperature's hot, then that's the one you need to try to go after right then. And then if you have a bird that its temperature isn't hot, we have a little YouTube channel we do on YouTube. It's more or less just I love video and stuff, and it's a place I can put hunts. But I killed a bird out here on our farm on opening day, and it was we came out here. It was pouring down rain, and when we saw the turkey up on a gas line, and he was just kind of standing there, hunkered down in the rain, and young Logan would have taken off after him and tried to kill him right then, but he just wasn't. His temperature wasn't right then. We didn't even got the truck, and we were like, let's just let the sun come out, and sure enough, whenever probably about 10 o'clock that morning, the sun came out and all the birds started chirping and we slipped up there and yelped one time and he gobbled and then he was hot. So it's, especially if it's a property you own or you're the only person accessing it, not, public land, we're getting into a different ball game. But if it's some private piece that you have and, you go out there on Monday morning and he gobbles on the limb a couple times, but then shuts up and just kind of plays that game. It's more or less if you have Tuesday and Wednesday off, let's just pump the brakes a little bit and not try to make him fly to the neighbors, and uh and yeah, kind of I think being patient more than just patience while you're hunting them, patience and when you hunt them, I think can play a big role, similar to deer too, same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I like pitting them against each other too. If you got two separate birds
Yeah.
and one's closer, he's like 100 yards, but he won't break, and you got one at like 400 yards, it's just hammering. It's like, all right, I'm gonna call it the one at 400 yards, and he's either gonna come in, or the one that's 100 is gonna get nervous, and he's gonna start coming in.
A
Yep.
lot of times they'll come in quiet like that. The one will just sneak in, and
Yeah,
another thing is the time of day on turkeys. Like we can hunt them all day. Some states you can't hunt them after 1 o'clock or whatever, but we can hunt all day. And a lot of times, right, like the off the roost is fun because they're all gobbling. It's a lot of action. But I kill a lot of turkeys from 10 to 2. Like
yeah,
they bred the hen in the morning. They gobbled, they answered, and then all of a sudden, about 10 o'clock, you hear one shout. And that one's red. Like you said, that temperature, he's doing it on his own. He's ready.
Right.
He's looking. And I've had a lot of success calling them in the afternoons and getting them alone. Man, a lot of times you gotta get them. If they're by themselves, they're very susceptible. If they got
hmm
5 hens, it's dang near impossible to get them to come to decoys.
I would say 10 to 2 would be if I could pick a slot of hours in the day, just give me that one. Y'all gonna have the others.
Yeah, it's cool to hear them in the morning. But working a bird, like the sun's up and the sun's out and shining, and it's more fun. I mean, the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese. That's what I always say.
where'd you come up with that one?
That's why I go turkey hunt about 9 a.m. Man, I'll be at the Waffle House at first light if you
that's
need me.
that's 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 why Abbott said he wants to go hunt with Jay, so that way he can sleep in and go to Waffle House.
Yeah, we'll go to the
Yeah.
Waffle Hut first, and then you got 3 bathroom breaks before we get to the farm.
Now, do you hunt with decoys, or are you like like, doesn't matter? Or are you one of the guys that's like, oh, we got
Uh,
to set up decoy?
no, I'm not. I know you talked about fanning earlier, so you kind of know how I feel about that already. But the
But that's a Trojan horse, man.
yeah, no, I'm not gonna sit here and say I've never done it, but it's yeah, I think it's just the game you want to play. You know, I'm not sitting here condoning decoys or no decoys or fanning or not fanning. It's just you know, uh, personally, if I'm going to hunt a bird out here, I'm not going to be using a decoy just because the game I like to play is a vocal kind of chess match about who's going to come to who kind of situation, and I kind of like that game, the calling aspect of it, and playing that cat and mouse version. But now, especially if I'm taking a kid, if I'm taking my wife or someone who not very, probably not going to swing and shoot a turkey that's coming behind them, or if they try to skirt you, I think that for me it makes it a lot easier when I can say, hey, this you're going to shoot him in this window right here, and those instances I will use decoys, but personally, if I'm shooting, I'm not using a decoy. But again, like for instance, me and my wife were out and she's loves turkey hunting, deer hunting, killed deer with a bow and several turkeys, and but we were out in Texas this year and it was tough. I don't know why. It was just same ranch 2 years ago. We you know limited out very early and kind of wish we would have slowed down a little bit, but this past year was just kind of different. And so it was the last afternoon we knew where this turkey was going to roost, and it was more like they weren't really gobbling. They were henned up. It was just kind of we were going to have to deer hunt this bird, and this little Sonderos kind of made a cross, and we watched him skirt us that morning going down one of them, and kind of left. And Texas, I don't know if you ever turkey hunted out there, anywhere in the out west where there's not many roost trees. Wherever the roost tree is, it looks like a chicken coop under it because there's just not many big trees for him to roost in. And this we knew exactly where he was roosting, and so we're probably 200 yards from where he was actually roosting, but we were sitting at the tee of those senderos where we knew that flock of turkeys was coming down that afternoon, most likely. And we got in there, I don't know, 3 hours before we figured they'd come through there, and we just been camping out, and it was probably about, I don't know, 30 minutes to 45 minutes before we probably should see him coming down that sendero, and she just looked at me and she was like, it just don't feel right. And I was like, what you mean? She was like, uh, she's killed several turkeys. She was like, I just feel like this ain't how we're supposed to kill him. And I was like, hey, one, wish you would have told me about 3 hours ago. uh, but yeah, also, dude, I was so fired up to hear her say that because it was like you get it, like that's my wife and she understands like why we do it, We're not like I had zero trouble shooting this turkey the way we were just because the week was hard and it was kind of it's not like we got out there and sat over a cornfield or something, but we had studied and knew where this bird was, and so in my mind like we did our homework, and 3 days of finally figuring out how to kill this turkey, we were going to kill him, and but she looked at me, she was like, this isn't how I want to kill him. So I was like, that's really
Yeah, that's
cool. And
that's like deer hunting
so
one right there.
right, and so we
Yeah,
got up and we went and tried to strike him, and we almost killed him. We struck him again. We struck him exactly where I thought he would be coming from, and almost caught him up, but he kind of skirted us. But it was just one. It was a really cool moment to see that she obviously she don't turkey hunt as much as I do, but she's been in it a while, and she kind of understood like kind of the game that we like to play. So that was neat.
I like tricking them. I strutter crawled a couple. It's like we see a bunch from the cabin at the farm. Ask Jay. He went out and listened to birds one morning on his way back from work, and he left his Yeti cup in the driveway right in front of the cabin, and there was like 3 or 4 of them doing circles, strutting around his freaking Yeti cup in the driveway. Like I could tag out every year sitting on the front porch of my cabin. Everyone's like, "Well, why don't you shoot them?" I'm like, "Well, if I started shooting them here, they wouldn't be here, would they?" And like I don't, that's cheating. I did it once just to say I did it, and then I was like, "All right, that's it. I've had enough of that."
Hmm.
it's just whatever you want to do, man. Like, how do you want to kill them? We can go call them in, or we can like, if you've already, if you're mad at, how mad are you at them? Because we can go get that one right now. I mean, you know what I mean? Like you can. That's how easy it is. Like it's pretty easy to strutter one. I mean,
Right.
how Abbott got 2 shots in the morning. Like he shot and missed one, and then we went and I was like, well, there's one. We drove that past the farm I can hunt, and there's one out there in the cattle pasture with a hen. I said, you want to kill him? Because we had to get to your crawfish thing. I was like, if we kill him in about 20 minutes, if he's going to do it. And we didn't necessarily strutter him. We got into his bubble before he knew we were there because he's with a hen, and he started gobbling. And then I called, and there's a cattle fence between us, and he was just hanging up, and I just pulled that thing out and just flash it through the woods a few times, and they come right to it. They can't handle it. They ain't seen it enough. It's just like the first time the Mojo spinning wing decoy came out on ducks. Like, it was poison, man. Like you could be standing next to it and shoot a duck on it. When that
Yeah,
big old, it looks dumb as could be, man. When it first came out, and you could just you catch them with a fishing net. Now a Mojo, they kind of go away from it.
there's like again, like I said before, I'm not sitting here condoning people who use them. What you said is perfect. Like however you want to do it, I think everybody has the right to. If a 30-year-old man wants to shoot a crossbow, so be it. That's what gets his heart racing, and then that's awesome. Same with shooting a deer. If if I have, for instance, we had a good deer out here this year we were watching. We've watched him for 3 years now, and he's probably mid 130s, 10 point now, which for down here is great. And I have him at rough, probably 4.5. Is what I'm thinking. So hoping to give him 5.5. And if someone killed him at 2.5 years old as a basket rack 10 point, and that's what got him going, then who am I to say they were wrong? So uh, I think as hunters we kind of, I don't know. I feel like we jump on each other too much, where they're oh, you didn't kill that deer on public land, or you didn't kill that turkey on public. You're not really doing it. Uh, for same down here, we can shoot a deer over a corn feeder, and I have zero problem doing that. But there are people who, even down here in South Mississippi, that don't do it. And again, that's their game they want to play. And same deal. I don't think it's fair for them to come after me or whoever for shooting one over a feeder. It's kind of, how do you want to do
Each
it?
each to their own, right? As long as it's within the legal means. At the
100%.
end of the
Yeah.
day, what's it matter?
Oh yeah, I mean we had a big talk about that on our first episode, and honestly with everybody that we've had, because we always get into talks about just people having experiences and different experiences with public land hunting and stuff, and it's just like it's people need to just start accepting what they've done and accepting the hunt that they've had and saying, hey, that's what got me fired up, instead of saying, hey, I just did that, I just killed that for the meat.
Yeah. Yeah. Or cold buck. I've seen so many people post a 3.5-year-old 8 point and be like, nice cold buck I killed yesterday, or management
That's
buck. And it's like,
Yeah,
come on, man. Just say you wanted, you killed a
Yeah.
deer that fired you up.
Oh
it's
Uh,
yeah.
cool.
Because if
that's
you really wanted meat, you would have shot them slick heads. You wouldn't have shot that little buck.
yeah, exactly.
yeah. Do you guys, how do you think technology is changing the game for hunting? Or do you think
I
people
feel
Man,
are
like
more successful now?
I feel like it's done good and bad, in my opinion. I feel it's 50-50.
I don't have much of a problem with it to an extent. I mean, mapping systems are probably I don't know, one of the most beneficial between that and cell cams. But then again, if you look at cell cams and say that that's creating a bad version of hunting, then I think you're wrong there, because to me it makes it to where I can put a camera on a scrape line in 1st of November. For here in the South, mid-December through mid-January is kind of our rut, and so for me to put one there 1st November, for me, it can stay there till mid-December, and to go put some new batteries in it, for me, that's intrusion, and that's less time I got to be in his bedroom, and I can actually scout a little better than if I'm in there checking an SD card every 3 or 4 days. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think crappie fishing has changed crappie fishing a lot. I think that's one of the biggest areas I've seen a lot of people get mad about it.
Well,
All
that's
people putting
They
their
get
spots
mad.
on fish brain.
Yeah,
No, they get no. It's that live scope's what's
that
getting them
live scope.
crappies.
The live
They'll
scope,
drive
yeah.
over. You can literally drive, and again, it's good. I mean, it's sweet, but you can get over a treetop and literally see no fish, and just keep going until you see fish
Yeah,
on one, and then catch them till they're all gone. That's kind of
yeah. You can follow them around. Like when they leave the
yeah,
tree, you just follow them.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
live
you don't
scope's a
like it?
big
Buy
debate.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's
It
bad
pays to
for the
play, man.
fish.
Oh yeah,
I
that's
think
that's
it's
where
bad
that
for the fish.
that's
That
where that
crappie, they reproduce so much. I don't think it's that bad for
So
them.
fast. So
you,
fast.
I don't know, man. I'm telling you, like you kill a deer, you got to check it in, right? Turkey, you got to check it in. You go fishing, you don't have to check in all the crappie you keep. You
Yeah,
just
but
got to stay
dude, they
within the
were
limit.
I forgot what the number was, so don't quote me to this, but the percentage was like less than 50% of the birds they expected were checked in Mississippi this year. Which, again, I think
It's
that's another turkey population issue, is everyone's just shooting as many turkeys as they want and not reporting them. And that's, where you guys are at. I'm not saying turkey hunting's not big, but down here it's a cult. It is.
It's
And
different, yeah.
yes, and if you see a dude walking around a bottomland in green Grange lacrosse boots, that's kind of he's a killer. And there's
Yep.
a lot of killers down here. And that's I think that's an issue too. And again, I could be wrong, but it was somewhere mid 30s to mid 40% that they expected were actually checked in, and that's a problem, And I know there are a lot of people all aggravated and mad. They're trying to possibly do a turkey stamp and all this in the state of Mississippi, and I don't have a problem with it, but it's I think that we're getting greedy, and that's another population topic you could get on is kind of the greediness of turkey hunters right now. But
Well,
Well,
it's
just
like
just
water.
because
It's
you
like
have tags,
waterfowlers, man. It's
yeah.
like waterfowlers. Everybody that hunts ducks hunt turkey. That's why they all go over their limit.
yeah,
I
Heck, you
mean,
can't go over your limit here. We don't got enough ducks. They'd
same,
write you.
yeah.
They'd write you an award, not a ticket. Well, it's still all
That's
honor
good.
system, right? You know what I mean? Like you can be out crappie fishing, you can keep 200 of them. You know what I mean? If you wanted, or you could kill 14 turkeys this year because we just got to call them in, right? It's all there's no like you used to have to go to a check station where somebody actually was there. You had to see it and they do all that stuff. It's still an honor system. You're just gonna have people that are always they're gonna do that. You know, it's
Yeah,
just there's people like that, and then there's people that are gonna follow the rules and there's everybody in between, right? Like it's just it's a human nature thing. It's a human problem, really. It's just because we like to think that just because we would do it this way, like we would do that, doesn't mean that the dude next door ain't gonna do it. He might kill every turkey, and he might put like we can't hunt over corn for turkeys. I guess in Texas they can, or I
maybe.
don't know, but like people have got corn out and they're deer feeders.
now when you were saying 40%, are you talking about like there were 40% less turkeys checked in this year compared to last year, or they were estimating that only 40% of the birds killed this year were checked in?
Again, the number could be swayed, but I remember it was less than 50%, and I was very caught off guard. I think this might be this, I don't know, second or third year we've done the check-in system, as far as with your NDWFP app or online. So yeah, that they were estimating that roughly that percentage of turkeys that were actually harvested were checked in. So that's very alarming, to
Yeah.
someone who's trying to, help the population and do my part on my little sliver of land.
Now, do you think they account for that in their you know in their data? Like, do you think they have I'm looking
I'm
for the
not
word.
sure.
You know what I'm saying though, but you think they'll be like, all right,
Right.
they checked in 2,000 turkeys, so probably 4,000 really got killed or something like that. You think they count for any
Yeah,
of that?
I'm not too sure how they do it. Again, I don't want to be quoted saying the wrong thing, but however they do it, that's what they estimated was kind of the number there.
How many? I don't even know. I wonder how many turkeys. How many are you allowed to kill a year? Two,
Three in Mississippi.
three. I wonder how many get killed there every year. That'd be something to look at. That are actually like checked in every year.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
not sure.
are you
I
guys?
know all the stats will be out there somewhere, but I don't know them verbatim. But
Are they banding turkeys up there? Down there? You're down
I
there.
was about to say up. What are you talking
yeah,
about?
I don't
Sorry.
know. I I know they do radio collar on turkeys for scientific purposes, and um, yeah, I'm not sure about banded. I've never killed one or heard of anyone killing one though.
We've been banding them up here. Well, they've been starting that where they'll
Hmm.
go out and right this time of year they'll corn them in. The state will and shoot a net on
Right.
them, and they'll ban the gobblers. we banned the resident geese up here. This year in one catch we caught 675 Canadian geese, and
Golly.
and I was talking to the biologist because we've been doing it for years. He said 80% of them bands are killed in 3 years. So 80% of them geese
Wow.
get killed, and not any of them are really far from where we banned them. So that's how quick they're repopulating. We can go back to next year and catch 300 new ones. That's just brand new ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're just seeing if these geese are our geese aren't leaving, right? These geese that live up here on the Gulf, they're not going nowhere.
That's because
Hmm.
Karen's feeding them bread all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, they just don't migrate anymore.
What do they get out of abandoned turkeys? I mean, I can tell you that, like, my farm, if you take it as a microcosm, they ain't going far.
I don't know.
I think that's the problem investing time and research into the banding is they're not, the range isn't very far. Now, a lot of the stuff like Mike Chamberlain's doing, a lot of the research there that involves kind of the way these turkeys are moving within a property or the way they're changing roost trees every night or, they do a lot of, I don't know what you'd call it, but kind of testing gobbles and they use the gobbles to kind of depict where they're roosting. And that's I know Chamberlain's doing a lot of work there. But yeah, I think that's why banding wouldn't be a huge win for research. But I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
only thing I think it would tell them is maybe like if one gets killed 10 years from now, how old they're getting. You know, maybe that'd be it. It ain't gonna tell you. You know, they're not going that far. They're not that nomadic.
Yeah,
I don't know. They banned them though. I don't got one.
Yeah, dude, don't even get started on the turkey age thing. Oh my gosh, people
yeah,
start
that's
treating them like deer. I'm like, dude, it's not a Jake. I'm shooting it. If he played ball and he got me excited, I'm sorry, he's done. So let me ask you this: do you have any, like? I mean, you're obviously a bigger turkey hunter than deer, but you still like deer hunting. I mean, what's your take on? Do you have any takes like on the moon or scent elimination or using deer scent or anything like that? I mean,
um. So I've deer hunted my whole life, but now I haven't as far as managing a property and trying to place scent right and all that kind of stuff. I didn't really start that till middle of college, probably. Getting more serious about let's not wear our clothes in the Waffle House before we go to get in the ladder stand. But yeah, the moon phase stuff is weird. I've heard a lot of different takes on it, but to me, if the moon affects the fish as much as it does, I know a lot of that involves tide and stuff as well, but I just don't see how there's zero, um, I
correlation.
guess, effect. Yeah, I mean, I've heard biologists say that it has no effect,
Yeah,
but I've also
yeah,
heard biologists say they do. So I don't know. Now, sin elimination, yeah. I mean, whether if you're hunting the wind, if you have the wind perfect, if you're sitting the edge of a field or the edge of say a bedding area, you know exactly where the deer are bedded. That's you can kind of use the wind to your advantage there. But a lot of the stuff we hunt here, like I said earlier, is a lot of pine trees, so deer can kind of bed everywhere. So you're kind of gambling on unless you're sitting in a shooting house in the corner of your property on the corner of a big field, you're kind of they can always come from behind you. So yeah, I don't go to all the ins and outs of getting dressed there there at my truck when I get there and do the whole thing. But I do spray down with some nose jammer stuff, and I've seen that stuff work pretty good. And I
Oh,
one thing I do is I just try to overbear myself with it. It don't matter if it's October and I'm hunting acorns or January and I'm hunting a big field. I always have some type of whether it's doe urine or buck urine or something on me just for the sake of if they can smell that over whatever human scent I'm putting off. In my mind, you know that's kind of helping me out a little bit.
Before Clayton even gets going on this, I got a question for you. Saying you taking some deer piss out there with you. Have you
Yeah,
ever heard of conquest scents?
I have not.
All right, Clayton, you want to elaborate on that?
I'll make it simple. I'm asking people now because they're a scent company, but they did a study um, to see how many people know about the company, which is interesting numbers. All I'm going to tell you is we're going to have the owner of that of Conquest on in a couple weeks for an episode, and this dude knows a lot about deer and a lot about deer scent. That's all I'm gonna.
And
It's
the
going to be an
stuff works,
interesting.
man. The
Yeah,
stuff works.
it's called Evercalm. Basically, it's the scent of a doe bedding area.
Yeah, Yeah,
And it's as fresh as they get because they
heard of it.
extract it from the deer and it goes straight into the mixer and they put it in that deodorant stick. They're the ones that started that deodorant stick style, if I'm not mistaken. But
I don't think it has to be like what I've used before. I don't think it has to be anything ecstasy or buck and rut or anything. Like you said, just that's really interesting. That's the way I've always treated it, but I've never actually heard of having the just a smell of a deer.
you're just covering
That'd be
yourself
cool.
up. Like you said,
That's
the
it.
And
Yep.
concept to me, the concept is let's just try to make it strong enough that they're not smelling me. They're
No,
not
yeah,
smelling
100%.
human.
There's so many times we have a lot of cedars here, which we try to get rid of. But if I'm headed to the stand and I walk by one, son, I'll be scratching my body up against it like a cow. Just hugging it, just trying to because to me the cedar's such a strong smell of anything that I can take some type of smell off of what I got.
yeah.
I,
We've talked about getting some cedar planks and putting them in our hunting boxes.
That
I used
that's
to do
that's
that.
huge. Yeah.
That's what my dad does. That he's old school. He goes to Tractor Supply and gets cedar shavings. Like horse bedding.
Hmm.
Has he
He
Hmm.
got a
lays that.
gerbil in there with his clothes?
Uh, I don't know. He pulls his stuff out. And it's got that stuff all over it, and he just throws it on. I was like, that's got to be on your back right now. Like that's got to be horrible.
No shot.
Yeah, he doesn't like separate it. He just like dumps it in there with his clothes and shakes it up. But whatever, man.
Oh,
He swears by it.
Talking about that, um, the scent stuff. The deer I killed this year actually. I killed two. The deer I killed in Georgia with my bow. I was just sitting on a scrape line all day long from. It was probably 50, 60 yards off this plot. Just sitting at the edge of a scrape. When I got in there, my buddy told me there was a scrape line there. Yeah, I was about 50, 60 yards off this food plot, and when I got in there that morning, you could just smell just buck urine just so strong. And I was like, there's got to be some scrapes around here. And then once daylight started getting up, you could just see I was sitting on a perfect scrape line. Uh, but yeah, it was this deer came from downwind of me, and I had just peed off the ladder because I used to be pee in a bottle kind of guy, just very like very serious about that. And someone told me one time, it's like, how does that deer know it's human pee? And I was like, it's a good point. So, yeah, I'd actually just 30 minutes before peed off the ladder stand and straight downwind of me, here he came. And I never, again, a lot of those deer that are rutting kind of, I feel like you could let them know you're in the world and they don't care. But yeah,
Hey, they got a memory of a goldfish when it's during the rut. But yeah,
yeah,
I don't pee
yeah.
in the bottle anymore either. It's just going off the side of the tree, dude. I'm not carrying an extra bottle in just to pee in the thing.
You probably wouldn't put the lid on all the way. Something silly would happen. Like you're like, oh,
yeah.
just peed all over my pack. That's what I would do. I've also stepped in dog crap on my way to a stand before and climbed it up, and it was all over the sticks. So the only way down was to put my hands back in dog.
Oh,
Well, I got one last question before we do rapid fire, and this is not hunting related, and it's not really my question. So Logan, you were just in the Pro Bowl. Graham, you and I talked about this earlier. I'll let you go ahead and ask him your question.
So, do you like how the Pro Bowl is set up to where it's more of
ah,
kind of like a fun event for y'all, or do you wish it was more like a game? Because me personally, playing 162 games a year, if I was in an All Star game, and especially if it was after season like y'all's is, I think I would rather it be some type of something fun like that versus going and having to play an actual game.
to put on pads after a 17 game season, I couldn't imagine doing that. So as a player, yeah, I do not want to go put on pads and have to actually punt. And I'm sure those guys don't want to go play mid linebacker either. So yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. I mean, you see a lot of it with the home run derby now. I feel like there's a lot of flack. I forgot who it was. They had their dad come out there and throw, and he couldn't get him a ball to hit, and it was just like you kind of see a lot of that in basketball as well. Guys aren't doing the dunk contest, and we don't, we want to see the big high profile, big name guys doing the dunk contest, and they're like, no shot. So you're getting the seventh, eighth man off the bench just doing it, and I same with the Pro Bowl. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I personally enjoy not playing a real football game, but now, however, the NFL needs to figure that out. Uh, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I know we don't have it figured out yet, but
Yeah, I think you two have a totally different answer. Like the players have different things they'd like versus the fans.
right.
Fans want to watch a game, but at the same time, y'all do this for a living. So by the time the Pro Bowl rolls around, it's like, let's change it up a little bit. Let's have some
Hmm.
fun. I could see that.
It's funner for the players from that side, but I understand for the fans, it's
Right.
not as fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a few gimmicky. Like, it gets a little Mickey Mousey. A few of the events. But there are a few events that are fun. Yeah, I think tug of war is like a staple. Dodgeball is a staple. A lot of those certain kind of events like that are cool. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we just need to play 9 holes of golf, AFC versus NFC. I don't know, but
That would
something
actually,
entertaining.
I think people would love that, and y'all would love that. To be honest with you,
Hey, no, 9 innings
Yeah,
of baseball. Let's see which team let's see which team can play baseball.
9 innings is way too long.
we have this conversation all the time. I feel like baseball is the most complex sport that. All right, I think that baseball is the hardest sport to take someone from another sport and let them fit in. If that makes sense. It's like baseball. I feel like
yeah.
you go
You
find several baseball players to fit in on a football field. I'm not saying you could go be, Tom Brady, Calvin Johnson, but you could go fit in and kind of
they'll
look in
compete.
place. Right, compete. Basketball might be a little tougher when it comes to size, but there's a lot of athletes that can go dribble down the court and shoot a layup or, shoot a three. But baseball, I think that's one of the hardest sports to fit in somewhere.
And you can say that because you actually at least tried. That's how me and you met.
Right, right. So there is, yeah, I did all three in high school too. So, but I still think like we have freak athlete receivers that I would die laughing watch them hit a wiffle ball. So,
Oh,
you
dude,
know,
we have guys from the Bengals come to hit BP, and watching some of these linemen swing a bat is some of the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen in my life.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it looks like they're in a Looney Tunes cartoon swinging a bat. It's like, what are you doing?
yeah. It
But
is
I wouldn't
funny.
want to get in front of them and let them run at me full speed because I sure as hell know they run faster than I do.
Yeah,
All right, you want to do some rapid fires real quick?
let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, we kind of already answered number one. Favorite deer or turkey?
Turkey.
Favorite Pop Tart flavor?
Huh. I'm gonna go chocolate between chocolate and crispy and cookies and cream, but I go chocolate. Dip it in milk.
Dipped in milk. You take milk to the stand with you
All right,
or
no,
into
I
the
know
woods?
that's where I was coming from, but no, I don't. But when I'm inside, I do.
All right. Top three hunting snacks to take into the woods.
I'm gonna go Pop Tart. I'm gonna go Little Debbie fudge round.
Everyone's a little Debbie something.
I'd love a fudge round, and I love those little cuties, the little bitty orange tangerine looking things, little cuties. I
Oh,
don't know
there
what they
you
call
go.
them.
There's your healthy snack.
I love those.
All right, three items you always have in your turkey vest. And while we're at it, give me three items that are always in your deer pack.
Okay, mouth calls, obviously. Um, Pocket knife, just in case I get bored, and you always need a knife, and toilet paper.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's important.
And then deer, snacks. Gotta have snacks. Rangefinder, whether I'm rifle hunting or bow hunting, and always have a grunt call. Always.
I'm gonna divert a little bit. Turkey calls. Are you like a one call kind of guy, like one type of call, like strictly mouth call, or do you use a little bit of everything? Or you got one you favor?
Yeah, I mean, depends on where I'm hunting. If I'm out west, I'm gonna have a box call or a pot call just for the sake of, slate call just for the sake of kind of piercing through wind and traveling further. But if I'm here in the south, I just run mouth calls. KB hen, houndstooth. That's hard to beat that one.
There you go. All right. Favorite cut of steak.
Ribeye.
I'm waiting for someone to say filet or New York strip one of these times, but it just ain't come yet. Favorite type of deer stand to hunt out of? You like a blind guy, tower blind? Do you saddle hunt?
I don't. I hadn't gotten the saddle stuff yet. I have a little lone wolf. I kind of use the strap on things if I'm trying to hang and hunt. But no, especially having a property. That's the single Millennium ladders. You can get up there 20 to 21 foot tall. They're pretty nice.
Yeah, Millennium's good stuff. Bird's on the lone wolf train. He likes those things for hanging bangs.
Oh, they're so light, so
Yeah,
light.
they are. They're nice, man. You can get them in a lot of trees too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, except you're the only one that hunts in the trees the size of a Coke can.
That's where the deer are at, man. I know where the deer are.
All right, so you mentioned it earlier. I'm gonna go ahead and ask it. Are you that cult turkey hunter that's wearing those OG green rubber boots?
Yep. Yep. Won't catch me in anything different unless I'm out west or in the Tennessee or Kentucky hills. I'll wear some Crispies, but besides that, I'm lacrosse Granges all the way.
I got a buddy from Alabama, but he's a turkey killer, and he always said, "Man, you ever go down south and hunt public land? You see that dude wearing them green boots? You just follow him on his hip because he's killing one today."
Yep. Or camper shell. He's got a camper shell in his truck. He's a killer too.
Yeah. All right, well that's it. Unless you got any questions for us, you boys got anything else?
Oh no, it was a pleasure meeting you, man. I hope you get you some good turkeys this year.
Oh, dude, thank you. I enjoyed being on here talking hunting. Some of my buddies have Spring Legion turkey brand down here, and they I was on there with Hunter the other day talking turkeys and telling you I love doing this a lot more than talking football. That's for sure. So thank you,
I appreciate you coming on, man. And hey, you ever want to come up to Cincy and catch a game? Let me know, or come out if when we're in Atlanta. Just holler at
dude.
me.
I'd love to do it, brother. I'd love to do it. Same to y'all.
All right, thank you, Logan. Y'all have a good evening.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
All right, man. See you.